Right, let's roll back the clock way back to around 35,000 years ago and more. I always find myself picturing those torchlit caves of Chauvet and Lascaux, these places layered with animal shapes, stags and horses, repetitive lines, dots and handprints, some of them so fresh-looking that you half expect someone to step around the corner. These marks, they're everywhere, all over Europe and beyond, some dating back to over 100,000 years ago, stunningly consistent but totally mysterious. And what always strikes me is those patterns, the repeated dots, zigzags, and that uncanny sense that these marks aren't random, but we can't quite grasp what they're for. So over the years there's been this parade of theories, right? Some suggest it was ritual, others thought it might be an Ice Age calendar, proto-writing coded messages. Pick your favourite. Trouble is, and I'm as guilty as anyone for loving a good code-cracking yarn, so many of these ideas fall apart when you actually try to test them. Most are, well, they're more wishful than scientific. Then, when Derek Hodgson came along in 2000 and started tying together neuroscience, visual perception, and these ancient marks, things really shifted. Suddenly it wasn't about searching for what the marks said, but why they were made in the first place. I mean, that just hit me. A total game changer. What if it wasn't some lost symbolic language, but something much more basic, much more universal? The question is, why do these marks still speak to us and are kind of stuck in my head for life? Okay, so let's talk about this neurovisual resonance theory, Hodgson's NRT. And bear with me, because this is where it actually gets more interesting. Instead of making wild guesses about super-secret Ice Age codes, NRT looks inside, at the human brain, at the ways we're wired up. The idea is early humans made art, not because they wanted to send cryptic messages, but because some visual patterns resonate deeply with our evolved neural structure. Our brains just light up when we see certain things. So why symmetry, rhythm, outlines? Well, the visual cortex, and I know this sounds a bit nerdy, but stick with me, it evolved to pick out patterns that helped us survive. Symmetry's everywhere in nature, especially in faces and healthy bodies, so over millions of years our brains got really, really good at noticing it. Repeated dots or shapes, like, isn't it sort of hypnotic when you see rows of dots in a cave, or even a really nicely made tile? That's the brain's reward system firing, because our ancestors literally benefited from spotting patterns, say, finding ripe fruit or animal tracks, things like that. The outline thing, that's us being hardwired to detect edges, junctions and crossed lines, the basic configurations that allow us to begin to see things in the world, isn't learned. It's something we do instinctively, and it's everywhere in Ice Age art. Even Neanderthals and Homo erectus were making those marks long before modern humans began making them at Blombos in South Africa around 75,000 years ago. What's astounding is, when you start looking across continents, the same motifs just keep reappearing. So NRT says instead of a lost global language, it's our shared neural hardware, evolution shaping what feels right to mark and to look at. And really, when you put it like that, it starts to feel less like a mystery you need to crack, and more like just being human, you know? So why haven't more people heard about neurovisual resonance theory? Why isn't it splashed across headlines the way those lunar calendar or Ice Age code stories are? I mean, if you'll forgive a bit of a rant, those tales make great copy. There's always a maverick or a rebel genius, and who doesn't love a dramatic reveal? Whereas NRT, it's difficult, it's scientific, and to be candid, explaining neural pathways isn't exactly party talk. But that doesn't make it any less important. In fact, that's the point. It's revolutionary precisely because it ties art, not to exotic rituals, but to the very way brains work. Think about it. If those basic patterns are wired into the brain, then the first repeated lines and motifs aren't just a cultural thing. It's evolution in action. It bridges this gap, joining up neuroscience and archaeology, two fields that, let's admit it, don't often sit down together. That's what I love about it. It's not about what the marks meant, it's about why they happened at all. And if you ever feel moved standing in front of such marks in a cave, it might just be because your visual system is designed to resonate with the very same things as someone thousands and thousands of years ago. In fact, those simple marks seem to have provided the wherewithal to make the first animal depictions. So next time you see Ice Age art, whether it's in a textbook, a museum, or, if you're lucky, a cave, don't just ask what secret message is hidden there. Instead, think about how those marks mirror what's happening behind your own eyes. Maybe, just maybe, we're not looking at a puzzle to solve, but a glimpse into the ancient wiring that makes all of us create and see the world as we do. And that, I reckon, is a conversation we'll keep having. Thanks for listening.